humans are so full of it, full of hubris. This is the Swami signing in. We humans, we practice ape sex, which really means that 99% of the time there is no reproduction, only 1%. So the chances of reproduction is just 1%. Most of the time is for pair bonding and pleasure. Basically, that's what ape sex is all about. It is quite different from animal sex and plant sex. Ape sex is different, and this is the base of the abortion problem. You see, in a troop, the male ape has got to be very huge to be able to defend the ape troop, and this is true of humans too. This huge size for a human male as compared to the female male, it is not only biological, it is also deployment of the resources. So the human male who was actually protecting, or number of males protecting the troop, or in this case the tribe, had to be very big and very powerful. Human males can be hugely strong. I have actually seen a person carrying 250 kilograms over a flight of stairs and down on top of his head. That is human male in his extreme. But here's the thing. However, due to modern weapons, the size of the defender or even the attacker does not matter anymore. A modern army can not only kill without contact, actually it can kill over the horizon. That is, they can kill people who can't be seen because they are too far away, and they can kill individually. So size no longer matters. That means that in theory an all-female army properly equipped and trained can easily defeat a properly trained and armed male army. That is the new system. That is the no longer required physical size. And the new battles are actually fought with the modern weapons. The demand for female equality began arising. And this is a process that is 150 years old. And they were able to break a lot of barriers that way. However, there is one barrier. The equality breaks down, because the men simply deposit the sperm and the females have to carry the child, and not only carry the child, actually feed it and look after it for 18 long years. And this is the thing that is the block. The way out of it was initially contraception. However, contraception fails, number of reasons. Not because of contraception itself, but other reasons too. So, failure of contraception arose in pregnancy, and this was unwanted pregnancy. To gain equality now, they had to have free abortions. But free abortions are a big problem. I have dealt with this in previous videos. However, I am looking now at absolutely new points and two consequences of abortions. That is highly unfortunate. The problem here is cultural factors. In some cultures, the male son is valued far more than a female child. This is unfortunate. Free abortions, consequently, in these societies meant that the girl child was aborted, and the male child was kept. This is a huge problem all over the place. So, free abortions had to be controlled such that abortion is still free, but you can't abort the female child anymore. So, this is the first objection to free abortion. That in some societies, the female child will get aborted. Another very interesting aspect of the modern day abortion theory. It says that the child inside of a woman is just a lump of flesh. It's not considered a human being. This is caveman gynecology. It goes back to caveman times. See, the sexual drive in the male and the female is very powerful. And that is how women used to get pregnant. Pregnancy was a very risky enterprise. A huge percentage of women would simply die in the pregnancy. And also, there is the problem of the child dying. There are so many reasons why. Even after the birth of the child, a lot of children would simply die. And that is the reason why in the old times, the caveman gynecology, the baby was not considered a human being till the 7th day. On the 7th day, the child was given a name and was considered now a human individual. Up to that point, they were just considered flesh. That is the reality situation. And here is the thing. In some exceptional areas, the female child would be given a teaspoon of salt, and this would be poisonous to the child. The child would die, and it would be simply buried unceremoniously. This was other system. There were areas in which no woman child was born for generations. So, unfortunate but true. Caveman science also cannot work. We now know, because of imaging techniques and all the other scientific methods, that we now know that the child inside the womb is actually, from the moment of conception till the birth, we know the full details, how it happens. Every single step is very well recorded. And this is, according to the modern science, it clearly shows that from the moment of conception onwards, the child is born. It is a human being. And it cannot go back to the medieval ages now and say that it is no longer a human being. Unfortunate but true. This is the second point, that the modern gynecology shows that the child from the time of conception is fully now human being, and as the cells begin to divide, even the lump of cells that divide differentiate themselves. Okay, I won't go to the science, but basically that's what science says. So if you want to follow the science, then abortion, you cannot say that the child inside a woman is a piece of flesh. Unfortunate but true. Of abortion, the arguments, there is the third point, this is the new theory that says a woman's body is her own. The child is an intruder in the body. Therefore, she can get rid of the child the day she wants to. My body, my choice. But this is not some exterior thing. And I got 3 points against this. Number one, surrogacy. Now, in this surrogacy, what happens is a woman accepts a foreign embryo, an egg that has been fertilized, and she accepts the foreign embryo into her body, and that develops into a child later on. Now, here is the question for you. Can a surrogate mother say that this child is a parasite on me and I can remove it anytime? She can't do that, because the moment you accept surrogacy, you've got to go through the whole term. Because the people whose eggs they are going to convert to a baby, those people you have selected them and they have selected you and you have consented to that, they probably will not get a second chance. If you had said no, then they would have gone to somebody else. The moment you say yes, it means that that consent is there from the date of that embryo going in till the delivery date. Your body is now has got to accept the baby. This is just surrogacy. This is as I said before, in surrogacy, the woman gives the consent. However, when she gets pregnant with a child, she has given consent, at least to the deposit of the sperm. May not for the baby, but that is not the baby's fault. The moment you give consent to sex and deposit of sperm inside your body, you have given consent to conception and the child. If you don't want the child, don't consent. Consent is given once, it cannot be taken back. Like in surrogacy, once you give the consent, once you get pregnant with the surrogate child, you cannot take back your consent. Here too, once you give your consent to sex, you get pregnant, you cannot now take the consent back. No matter what the feminists say, and no matter what the position is in abortion, a child has got 50-50 genes inside, the father and the mother. A part of the father is in the child, a part of the mother is in the child. You know, even the sound of the voice carries down generations. My voice is like my grandmother's from my father's side. So, there is the element that the child has got the father's thing and the mother's thing. 50-50, it is half and half. And the mother cannot take a unilateral decision to throw the child because she has only 50% rights to it. So, it is like saying that there are two people owning the car. One of the owners simply can't walk away with two of the wheels. That can't be done. The car is held. The two people own, say, a cow. The one owner can't simply cut the cow in half and take it away. It is like that. So a child has got two sets of DNA, both equal, father and mother. The mother cannot take an individual decision. This is the sixth, and these three are part of that claim that the body of the female is sacrosanct and she can decide whatever she wants with the child. It is not true at all. We will now look at the problems arising out of this abortion system. The human reproductive system, as they practice it culturally, is totally different from the animal system. In the animal system, one male dominates the whole tribe or the pride or whatever, and ensures that all the children are his. However, in the human system, is not like that. Every male and every female get an equal opportunity to have children. That is the human system. As the civilization developed, we ensure that a person could marry only one wife and a woman could marry only one husband. This, as it filtered down, the top level males got married, and then the second layer, the third layer, and the last, the bottom layer. The bottom layer also could get married. In fact, in these societies where this was strictly enforced, this thing was strictly enforced, even the beggars can get married. So, there is equality here. If sex is not free, it is restricted. If marriage is not free, it is restricted. Then all the population gets chance to reproduce. The moment this stops, this ends. So, here's the thing. If abortion is free, the rich man's child or the powerful man's child will not get aborted. The rich man, if they want to keep the child, or the powerful man, if they want to keep the child, they will find some way to enforce their wish. It is the people in the lower slabs, that the gamma and the theta people, they are absolutely in the lower slabs, their children will get aborted. And you can see that in the United States, where the black children are aborted at a much higher rate than the white children.
Now this one is the corollary of
above. See, if they don't have free sex and free abortion, then what happens is people, the males at the lowest bottom of category, they can't have sex. And you can observe that in societies now, which are having free sex and free abortions. You can see that the males at the bottom of the layer, they find it difficult or nearly impossible to have sex, because a person can have any number of partners. Now, marriage is not important, and carrying the baby is not important. So, the uppermost male and the uppermost females can have any number of partners, and this means that the top layer, they are able to have sex. As you go down, this sex decreases till it comes to zero. We know now that a lot of people in these countries have zero sex, even at the age of 40. How can this be acceptable? So, what looks like a revolutionary thing is actually reactionary and bad. So, these are my points to you, absolutely new points. I don't think anybody has come up with them. This is the Swami signing off.